There we go, pretty much. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to the presentation this morning here at F&D Dimensions. We're delighted to invite Gemma Davies along from Wellness Without Barriers. Thank you. I almost forgot the name then. Heat's gone to my head already. So without further ado, I'll shut up and I shall pass over to Gemma, who's going to be showing her screen in her presentation. And I say there'll be a chance for questions afterwards. So good morning, Gemma. Thank you for joining us and welcome. Please, I'll let you take over. Thanks.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. Welcome and thank you for being here. As Steve said, my name is Gemma Davies. I'm the founder of Wellness Without Barriers. We are a fairly new company. We launched in October last year. Like many of you, I live with functional neurological disorder. I also live with fatigue, migraines, chronic pain, and
Gemma, sorry, Gemma, we're struggling a bit with the volume still.
Okay, bear with me. Let me see what I can do. Is that any better?
That's better, yes. Yeah.
So I'll hold the mic right up here. So
okay.
Okay, so I'll start with where I left off. So where are we? So like many of you, I live with functional neurological disorder. I also live with fatigue, migraines, chronic pain, sensor challenges, and basically all the unpredictability that can come with it. For a long time, I believed that if I just tried harder, pushed through, and stayed positive enough, I could get back to the person I was before. And what I learned was constantly fighting my body was costing me more energy than I realized. But today is not about doing more. It's about understanding your energy, how to protect it, and how to work with your body rather than against it. So I'm going to share my screen. I've got a slideshow for you. Can everybody see that? I hope so. Fabulous. Okay. So a quick disclaimer before we start. Okay, this workshop is educational. Everybody's symptoms and circumstances are different. And I'd like to take what feels helpful and leave what doesn't. And medical concerns should be discussed with your healthcare team. Okay. If you have any questions about medication, treatment, or specific symptoms, again, those conversations are best discussed with your healthcare team. So I want to start with a quick show of hands or a yes in the chat. How many of you have been told to just pace yourself? In the chat. Okay. Fabulous. Okay. Now keep in mind, and if you've got your hand raised, keep your hands up. How many of you have had this explained to you? What does pace yourself actually mean? Anyone ever been told that? Loving all the yeses, the no's, not yet. Anyone been told that? Fabulous. Okay. So pacing sounds simple, but for many, it is just vague advice that doesn't tell us what to do differently tomorrow morning. So what we're going to talk about today is turning that advice into practical strategies. Some of you haven't been told that. That's good. It's not very good advice, especially when it's vague. So when people live with fatigue for a long time, they often start blaming themselves. They think they're lazy, unfit, not trying hard enough. But often the reality is very, very different. Think about your body and everything that you might be managing before you even started the day. Brain fog and concentration. Poor sleep, Or sleep requires energy. Pain requires energy. Managing your symptoms requires energy. Stress and worry, I'm sure that's a big one for a lot of you. That requires energy. Anxiety, worries, sensory overload, for those of you that are affected with your senses, that requires energy. Daily activities, that requires a lot of energy, as you may well know. Many people are spending energy before they've even started their day. Okay, so a huge amount of you and using your energy even before breakfast. And when we understand that, exhaustion starts to make a lot more sense. So when people think about energy, they often think about physical energy. Can I walk? Can I stand? Can I do housework? But energy is much, much bigger than that. Got your mental energy. So that's your concentration, your memory, your decision making. You have emotional energy, energy that's coping with stress, worry, and uncertainty. Your social energy, so conversations, visitors, appointments, interactions, going for coffee with friends, family. And then you have your sensory energy. So energy is managing noise, lights, crowds, busy environments. Most of them intertwine with each other, and that can also make your energy usage double. So you might have plenty of physical energy one day, but very little emotional energy, or even the other way around. So plenty of emotional energy, but absolutely no physical energy. Understanding which type of energy is running low helps us make better decisions about what we do next. So for you guys, which type of energy tends to run out first for you? Put your comment in the chat. Is it your physical, your mental, your emotional, social, or sensory? Love this. We've got a few coming through now. Sensory, mental, physical, one there. Lovely. Fantastic. Sensory and physical for one person. Lovely, Rosie. Thank you. Sensory, yeah. So sensory and mental seem to be the highest ones, which is a really good fact that you've noticed that within yourselves. Changes from day to day. Absolutely, Sandra. Absolutely. Okay. So this is what I call the energy bank account. Imagine your energy that you have first thing in the morning as a bank account. Every morning, a deposit lands in your account. Okay, so you get a certain amount every day. Doesn't always have to be the same amount every day. Okay, and the problem is, it's not everybody receives the same amount. Someone without significant health challenges might wake up and start the day with £100. We'd all like £100 worth of energy. I know I would. Someone living with FND, chronic pain, fatigue, migraines, poor sleep, or multiple health conditions might wake up with only £30. But here's the problem. Society still expects both sides to pay £80 worth of activities. Work, shopping, housework, socializing, appointments, and I'm sure there's many, many more. And we can't all do it, not all of us. And we often blame ourselves for that. But if you only have £30 available, it's not due to a lack of effort. It's due to the fact you're being asked to spend money you don't have. And this is why it's important to understand an energy budget. Before we can manage energy, we need to understand where it's actually going. And many of us know the big drains, pain, poor sleep, worry. But there are often hidden drains too: appointments, phone calls, noise, bright lights, decision making, and family conflict. I'm sure family conflict can be quite a big one for some people, along with managing your symptoms, masking your symptoms, and trying to make sure everything is okay. So these are small withdrawals, as we're referring it to a bank account, and they all add up. Sometimes it's not one big cause causing exhaustion. It's 50 small things taking a little bit of energy throughout the day, little nitpicks, little withdrawals here and there, 50p, 20p, 5p, a pound. I want you to take a moment and think about this. What out of any of those, even if there's some on there, some that are not on there for you, take a moment and think about what drains your energy the most and put it in the chat. See if what you guys come up with. Decision making, keeping up with others. Thank you, Alison. That's a good one. Decision making is a big one. People or autistic with it, Trish. Okay, lovely. Trauma history, keeping up with others definitely is a big one. All of them, Cheryl. Wow, that must be really, really tough for you every day doing that. Working full time and pressures to keep up. More or less constant head tremors, poor sleep, anxiety, not being able to calm my brain, pain, anxiety, overwhelm, keeping on top of work, childcare, etc. Absolutely. So we all have our different energy thieves. Most of them are hidden, which is spot on for this slide. Expectations of others should be more well. Lizzie, that's a very big one. That's a true one. I struggle with that myself. A lot of my family members are not au fait as such with FND, and it's really hard having to keep trying to explain it over and over again. So that for me is a hidden energy thief as well. Sandra Jane, my son has ADHD and sleeps through his alarms. I FaceTime him every day, but it takes an hour. That's exhausting as well. Yeah, he's in uni, not trusting my body anymore, constantly hypervigilant and worried about what may happen each day. Joe, absolutely. Absolutely. Not being able to even trust your own body is a massive mental drain on you. I can understand that. Ironing drains me. Don't know if it's standing and trying not to burn myself at the same time. Hazel, yep. That concentration, again, it is something that is draining you every single day. And these are the things that people don't see. And that's why they're called the hidden energy thieves. Thank you for that, guys. Thank you. So this slide, when I made it, was an absolute game changer for me. So you wake up, you're feeling good, green for a good day. You feel relieved, finally have some energy. So you want to take advantage of that good day. You feel good, you're happy, your brain's not foggy or anything like that. You feel absolutely amazing, the best you felt for a long time. So what do? You do everything. You catch up on housework. You catch up on errands that you need to get done, the emails, the jobs you've been putting off. You absolutely make the most of a very good day. And then what? You crash. Yeah, absolutely crash. Does this sound familiar to people? Put a yes in the chat if it sounds familiar. Your symptoms increase, fatigue increases, your pain increases, and you spend days recovering. 100% definitely. A lot of late yeses there. Yeah, everybody can understand. And eventually, after you've had a few days rest, you feel better. Oh, let's go back one. So you do it all over again. And this is why it's called the boom bust cycle. Good day, you boom. You do everything. You get as much done as you possibly can. Then you crash. And you spend time. And like I said, it can be days. For some people, it could be even longer for recovery. And recovery looks different for everybody. It could be that you just sit and do nothing, or you play your favorite game, or you do puzzles, things like that, or you just stay in bed and just sleep. And then a couple of days later, as I said, you start to feel better. Cheryl, yes, I'm not getting upset if my house is a mess. It's not worth it. Absolutely. Absolutely. For people that fully understand FND and what you're actually going through, seeing your house in a bit of a mess shouldn't really be an issue for anybody that fully understands. Okay. Yeah, let me go. Many of us get stuck in this boom bust cycle for years because it feels productive at the time. When you're doing all of this because you've had a good day, it feels productive. But over time, it can make your symptoms feel more unpredictable, and it makes recovery harder and recovery longer. So a good day does not always mean more energy is available. I hope that makes sense. So why pushing through doesn't always work. I myself was raised to believe that pushing through was the right thing to do. So if you're struggling with something, you keep going, you get on with it, you don't give up. Sandra, being a perfectionist, I'm finding it hard to accept good enough is enough, and I treat myself harder than I would somebody else. Absolutely. It's about learning how to take little steps. So what we say is the smaller the step, the more impact it will have over time. So we were taught to keep going, get on with it, don't give up. And all those qualities can be incredibly useful in life in many areas. But when you've got FND and your energy is limited, pushing through does not always come. Pushing through often comes with a cost. The challenge isn't determination. Most people living with FND have plenty of determination. I know that myself. Sandra, yourself, you're determined to be that perfectionist, even though you know you don't have to. The challenge is actually recognizing when determination is taking us beyond what our body can currently manage. So if every day requires that more energy that you actually have available, eventually something's going to give. Okay. And that's often when symptoms increase. It's not weakness, it's a signal. It's your body asking for something different. Now, I learned very early on in my diagnosis that my body was signaling me, and I never listened. I always sat there and said, I can push through. I will push through. I can't give up. The old me would never give up. But doing that has taught me that I can run out of energy very quickly and I crash. And it's sometimes not just crash, crash and burn with it. And in situations like we are currently now with the heat, your body will definitely be screaming and shouting at you. And the whole point of this is to teach you to listen to your bodies. Okay. So I want to introduce to you a simple concept. It's called the 60% rule. Have any of you heard of this? Tell me in the chat, have any of you heard of the 60% rule? No, no. Lovely. Okay. So this is a new rule for some of you. Some of you, Dawn, maybe might have heard it. Okay. Yvette, yes, at work. Lovely. The fact that they're using it at work as well is really, really good. Okay, so imagine you wake up feeling quite good and you've got energy today to do 10 jobs. So we're thinking a good day. Okay. What would happen if instead of doing all of the 10 jobs that you've got on your list today, what would happen if you only did 6? Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, well, on good days, I know I could do those 10 jobs very easily. And maybe you could. For today, the reason this strategy can help is because it leaves something in reserve. Okay, so you still got the 40% in reserve if you only did 6 of those 10 jobs. Exactly, Sandra, you would feel better the next day. So instead of finishing the day completely empty, you've protected some energy for tomorrow, for example. It's not about doing less because you're incapable. Nobody's saying you're incapable at all, but it's about choosing your sustainability over survival. And this is key. Sustainability over survival. Because I know from my own personal experience, as I'm sure you lot are exactly the same, people living with chronic illnesses and many other conditions are excellent at surviving. You might not feel like it sometimes, but you're all here. Look at today. I've got in front of me on my laptop, no temperature. It just says heat warning. It is absolutely scorching outside. It's scorching in my house and there's no air. And I can imagine how you guys are feeling because I'm going through it myself. But we're surviving it. We're keeping ourselves hydrated. We're not doing too much because energy is on a low today. So if you think about maybe if you want to do 5 jobs today, just do 3 of them, even 2.5, even 50%. So what we're aiming for is consistency. Okay, so I need you to remember that. It's about choosing sustainability over survival. Okay. So one of the biggest mistakes I used to make, try again, was waiting until I was exhausted before I was stopping. The problem is that by the time I realized I was exhausted, it had already gone too far. So think of it this way. Think about your car. How many of you would wait until you're stranded at the side of the road before putting fuel in? I want to bet none of you. For those of you that can drive, I bet none of you would wait to put fuel in your car. But many of us do that with our energy. We keep going until our symptoms are shouting at us, till we're on empty. But what if we stopped earlier? What if we rested when it still felt okay? So maybe here. For many people, feels uncomfortable because we're taught to keep going while we can. And I'm probably the biggest culprit for that. I'm one that if I start something, I have to finish it. Yes, I rest in between, but I have to finish it. And it doesn't matter how it makes me feel. So let's go back. Sorry. Before stopping, where are we? Okay, before stopping, we get signals. We need to listen to those signals. Stopping before empty will help us do more consistently over times. There are times, though, when you do have to push through. There are times, yes, absolutely. That becomes a necessity rather than a choice, that's per se. So the things that I'm talking about are, um, like you said earlier, housework. Some of you struggle with housework. Some of you struggle with dishes, sweeping the floor, things like that. And I'll show you that later on. But you are right, Sandra. There are some times when you do have to push through. So this is when energy is limited and the way we approach tasks matters. So a lot of us will look at the whole job. Okay. Say you've got a clean kitchen, a dirty kitchen, you've got to clean it. Okay. Wash the dishes or load the dishwasher, as some of you probably have a dishwasher. Then what? Have a cup of tea. Can't be a good cup of tea. Sit down, even if it's 5 minutes, could be 2 minutes, could be half an hour. Sit down and rest. Then move on to the next one. Wipe your sides down. What comes next? Rest again. 2 cups of tea. Amazing. Then what? Go back. Sorry about that. Sweep the floor. Last job of the day. So a lot of us look at the whole job. You look at the kitchen and you see, say you've got those 3 things that need doing. The brain sees one giant task. Okay. So instead, just break it down. Do the dishes, take a break. Wipe the sides, take a break. Sweep the floor, then you would take another break. It probably sounds like I'm telling you, no, it's Sandra, absolutely not. It does not all have to be done in one day. No, absolutely not. You rest for as long as you need to rest. And it's like I just said, it might sound like I'm telling people here how to suck eggs. And it does sound simple, but it actually does change the way your energy is used. So doing small things and then resting will make a big impact. So you're reducing the chance of going from feeling okay to completely wiped out. Energy than one large task. Okay. So this is the traffic light method. And I love this strategy because you think about your yes, lovely. So a few of you have and a few of you haven't. For those of you that have, I hope you don't mind me going through it again, just to show those who don't. So green, what does green mean? Green means go, yeah? Like you there, Sandra. I'm exactly there. Well, exactly the same. I don't pay attention either. And sometimes it ends up with me up in a mess. So green means you're managing well. You can do your planned activities. Absolutely. Green means go. We like green. And then we've got amber. So what does amber mean? Warning sign. This is the section where your body starts to communicate with you. Okay. It means caution. Symptoms are increasing. Your concentration is slipping. Your body is starting to signal that it needs support. Okay. This is the part that you need to pay attention to, especially on days as hot as it is today. Slow down and reduce your demands. Okay. Oh, actually, speaking of warning signs, my laptop's now telling me it's 28 degrees. How hot is it where you are? Put it in the comments. Let me see how hot you all are. 28 degrees where I am, and I'm in Wiltshire. How hot is it for you guys? 29. Lovely. Okay, bring in those temperatures. 31, Joe. Wow. 25.5, not bad. Okay. So again, amber, warning signs. Mine's literally come up with a heat warning, Steve. Yeah, absolutely. 28, 21, 18 in Scotland. I'd like to be in Scotland right now, to be fair, Hazel. I really would. 29, 28, but 23 in my room, curtain closed. Good. Yeah, Dawn, like that. Shut your curtains. It's supposed to make your room cooler. 27 in Norfolk. Look at that. Again, warning signs. Slow down and reduce the demands. And we all know what red means. Red means stop. Recovery needed. Massive storm lowered the temperature, Susanna. We had a storm yesterday and it didn't touch the temperature. Not at all. It absolutely hammered it down with rain for about 45 minutes. We had thunder, we had lightning, the wind went right up, and then it just disappeared and it didn't do anything to the air at all. Nothing at all. So, red, recovery needed. Absolutely. This is the stage you do not want to be at before you start. You want to be here with the amber. You rest, recover, and postpone what you can. Things that can wait until tomorrow. So the challenge is, because many of us ignore amber and we stop when we hit red, it's learning to recognize that amber is the goal. Not red, amber is the goal. So that's the traffic light method. You've got green for go when you're having a good day. And as that day progresses, you might get a couple of warning signs. You might get symptoms increase. You might start feeling a bit tired. You might get a few tics or a few tremors. I'm not sure if that's consistent with everybody here. Everybody has their own warning sign that comes on. For some of you that are unable to recognize the warning signs, this is a good opportunity for you to have a think about what your warning signs could be, because I'm sure they're all there. Red, recovery needed. This is the stage we do not want to get to. Okay, this is the stage that wipes you out completely. For some people, it can be hours. For some people, it can be days. What color are you guys in right now? Sandra, I get very cold even though it's hot outside. Yeah, absolutely. Amber. Amber. Am I going to see a lot of ambers today? Yeah, definitely. Look at that. Amber, amber. Oh, Sandra's in green. Good. Good on you, Sandra. Green day. Fantastic. So we're liking the ambers. Nice. So you all have warning signs. I'm guessing you're all receiving warning signs from your bodies. And the fact that you've put amber in there or green is the fact that you're realizing how your body is communicating with you. And that's fantastic. That's fantastic. So recovery is productive. I want to challenge a belief that many of us have probably grown up with. That rest is something we earn. Has any of you heard that? That you have to earn rest, or you feel like you have to earn rest, and that recovery comes after we've done enough. Okay, Martin, no. Okay. Dawn, yes. Sandra, yes. Lovely. Yep. How many of you feel guilty when you rest? Any of you feel guilty? I know I do. And this is this discussion I have with my own family and my clients as well, is that when you rest, or say like in my situation, my partner comes home from work and the hoovering hasn't been done, I feel guilty and I feel like a burden because I've not been able to get up and do that. But that's me feeling like that. That's not him making me feel like that. So I can sit here and tell you till I'm blue in the face that you should not feel guilty for resting, because it's all part of the process. But it's all about how you feel within yourselves. So for years, I don't know if you're like me, years I treated recovery as a reward. So if I'd worked hard enough, then I could rest. And that's how I started this journey with FND 5 years ago. Then people say you're tired, but you've hardly done anything. I've done an 8-hour shift. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. I hear that quite a lot. But I used to be a big believer in, if I did enough, then I earned my rest. I for someone to say to you, I've done an 8 hour shift, they're expecting to be able to rest. You've probably done the equivalent of an 8 hour shift as your body is feeling like it is. Okay. So in your mind, in your sensories, you have done that 8 hour shift. It's the feeling of being a burden. My family have taken to tell me to stop because they can tell by the color of my skin. Absolutely. So your family are noticing warning signs, Sandra. That's really, really good. That's really good that they can notice that and tell you. So I got to the stage where if I'd completed everything on my list, then I gave myself permission to stop. But the issue was that that list was never ending. There was always something that needed to be done. And me, as I am now, I know I cannot do everything that I put on my list every day. Recovery isn't being lazy. Recovery isn't just giving up. And recovery is part of energy management. So I want to give you an example. If you think about elite athletes, they don't train hard every minute of the day. Now, when I wrote this, I actually sat there and thought, well, actually, you do see athletes, you see boxers, you see um, runners and things like that, and footballers, and they train so much. But what I realized when I was writing it, because I wasn't actually going to put this in here, but what I realized was that recovery is actually built into their plans, because without recovery, performance drops. You look at England playing at the moment in the World Cup, they have a match and then they have so many days recovery. But recovery for them also includes doing some fitness, doing some stretches. It's recovery performance. And it's the same that's true for us. Recovery is not what happens after you manage your energy. It is energy management. You need to recover and you need to take time to do that. And that's why taking small steps and resting in between certain jobs that you're doing or certain things that you have on your list is very, very key. Okay. So, energy builders. Did all of you get the workbook that Steve had? Me, yes, in the chat if you got it. No, a lot of no's. Steve, could you put the link up in the chat for me? There is a workbook that's come with this. Thank you. That'd be great. It's not been sent out yet. Will do. Thank you very much. Okay. So far we've talked about things that drain energy. Okay, so let's talk about things that help restore it. Okay, so we're going from all of the things that can absolutely destroy us, even it can be something big, something small. Now we're going to find the things that can help. A daily nap, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Thank you for that. I appreciate that comment. That was lovely. So energy builders are different for everybody. Okay, so we're looking at restoring our energy. But what might help me might not help you. Okay, a cup of tea, absolutely. I'll tell you what, I'm going to come around your guys' house because I love these. A daily nap and a cup of tea, almost set if I come around yours. So for me, music helps me. Time with my dogs. I've got two really big Rottweilers, and they are very, very bountiful. So I love spending time with them, being outside, bird song, sitting on a bench, magnesium. Yeah, love it. Music, reading. So having realistic expectations help. For somebody else, it might be, oh, let's go forward again. Nature. So some of you said it's sitting out in the garden, being outside, bird song, like that, reflexology. My dog snuggles up to me when I'm not well. Do you know what mine does as well? I have a nearly 60-kilogram Rottweiler who knows when there's something wrong with me. And he climbs all over me, and I've not got the strength to push him off. like that. So some it's music, fresh air, again, being outside, hydration. Now, this one's key because you might not think of hydration as an energy builder, but actually keeping on top of your fluids will make you feel better inside. I know when I've not kept on top of my fluids because I feel sluggish, my mouth goes really dry, I feel really tired, fatigued, more than normal. So hydration is key. You've got boundaries, being with supportive people, or doing hobbies. The important question isn't what should recharge me, it's actually what does recharge me. As long as it's a good day, I do senior ballet, seated Pilates, disability swimming, and community choir. That is a lot of activity. Please tell me, Sandra, that's not all in one day. So if you could keep only one of your energy builders, what would it be? In the chat, what would it be? Over the week, good, Sandra, that's good. Music, nature, nap, hydration, good, Jacqueline, like that. Helping my neighbor, Carol, lovely. Nature, hydration, hobbies, but not overdoing it. Good point, Rosie, good point. Fresh air, being outside, like it. Music, definitely. I like these. So you've all actually got it all right there, but you probably didn't realize that it's actually an energy builder. So one of the hardest lessons that I've had to learn is that energy isn't only time spent on activities. Okay. It's spent on people. Saying no is key. Expectations, obligations, guilt, trying to be everything to everyone. When energy is limited, boundaries become essential. Do you all have boundaries? Yes in the comments if you all have boundaries. Thank you, Steve. The workbook is up in the chat if you guys want to click on it. Alison, tried to have boundaries. Okay. Alison, what boundaries do you put in place and why do they not work? That's what you need to think about. Need to get better. Not really, not always. Okay. So family obligations, yes. Working on it is. Yeah, absolutely. So when energy is limited, boundaries become essential. Every yes costs energy. Constantly saying yes to everybody means saying no to ourselves. So saying no is a very good boundary. Rescheduling. How many of you, put this in the chat, how many of you have got to the point where you're about to do something important or meet up with a friend or go to an event and you just think, I just really can't, and you cancel? Doesn't need to be at last minute, but sometimes it is last minute. Definitely rescheduling. Lovely. Yeah. Rescheduling is a big one for me. Yes, but feel guilty. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. This is the issue, is you shouldn't feel guilty for looking after yourself. So rescheduling can be, I can't do that today. I need some time to recover. Can we rearrange? Something as simple as that. You'd be surprised how much that sentence can change people's view on you and make them realize that actually what they're asking of you might be too much. I often book stuff in when I'm feeling good, then I feel awful when it comes. I don't think people understand or believe me when I can be okay one day and able to walk the next day. That is key, Joe. That is a very good statement to say. And I 100% agree with you. I'm sure Steve can get the book, the workbook to you however you want to. Email shouldn't be an issue. What about leaving early? Leaving early at an event? I know probably work commitments, you probably can't leave early. Um, that would be ideal for some people. Say you're at a christening, a wedding, something like that, or you're out with your friends and you can be talking really, really well to start with. But as the time goes on, you start to get your warning signs. So you start to go from green into amber. You start getting all of your little signals that come through. And as it progresses, because you've ignored those, you then start to crash and you hit red. So I think people would have a better understanding if you were to say to them, um, I'm feeling a bit tired. If it's okay with you, I need to go home, something like that. Leaving early is not going to be a massive thing for people. But to you, it can be something that really, really helps. Asking for help. Now, this one was a big one for me. Actually asking for help. Have any of you took that big step and asked for help in the comments? When you really, really needed it, you're really struggling, and you think to yourself, no, I can do this on my own. I know I can do this on my own. But then actually, you crash even further, and then you need to ask for help. Try to space events over the week. The work I have to do, use a week planner pad. Absolutely, Hazel, perfect. Yeah, sometimes I ask friends to pick my daughter up from school. That's perfect, Joe. I have carers but struggle to ask others for help from friends and family. No, and then really crash event. Yeah, exactly. So that's the boom bust cycle again. This is the point where your amber's coming up and you should be asking for help. I live by myself, no one to ask. Okay, Susanna. So that's a struggle in itself. That must be an absolute mental drain on you. I struggle to ask and I often wait for people to notice, but when they don't, I end up crashing, Lucy. Yeah, absolutely. I've done that so many times. Carol, yesterday I was at a funeral and this presentation is the only arrangement in my diary today. My friends dropped me at home. We didn't go together after the funeral. Okay. So you did what you could at the time, Carol, and that's what really matters. That's what matters. You did what you could. Okay. Turning off your notifications. How many of you sit on your phone doom scrolling? How many of you put your phone to one side and say you're going to chill, you're going to relax now, and then the notifications keep going off and you have to look at it. You have to know what it is. For many of you, I can imagine you can probably be quite isolated. So having your phone nearby is something that you use to socialize. So it can be difficult to turn off notifications. I absolutely get that. Yes, all the time and scrolling and checking on apps. Okay, asking for help. I try to be independent and feel shattered afterwards. That's it. So what I'm trying to get across with this is putting the boundary in is when you feel like you're not going to be able to cope on your own. So again, that amber sign, you need to ask for help. And you shouldn't be scared to ask for help. Anybody that doesn't help you, I do believe is not fully supporting you like they should be. I would rather read. My phone is on silent and only people who can get through with direct family. Perfect, Sandra. Absolutely. Keep your phone off. Turn off the notifications, obviously, unless you really, really need to. I downloaded an app to limit my time on social media and it turns my phone off altogether. Fabulous. Josh, can you share with us which app that is, just in case anybody else wants to use it? I find keeping up with friends online helps recharge. Absolutely, Jacqueline. It really can. And sometimes meeting online is better than physically in person. Because it makes you use less energy. So that's great. It's called Keep Present, guys. So anybody that would like to try an app that puts a limit on social media on your phones, it's called Be Present. Thanks for that, Joe. And then taking breaks before you need them. Again, back to the traffic light method. We're looking at amber. So many of us struggle with boundaries because we don't want to disappoint people. I've seen that quite a few in the chat at the moment. But what you've got to realize is that sometimes protecting your energy means being selective about where it goes. Which one of these And any that you do you find the hardest? Put it in the chat. Which ones do you really struggle with? You set yourself a boundary, but it never works. What boundaries do you put in place? Dawn, all of them. Yeah, absolutely. Taking breaks, asking for help, rescheduling, leaving early. Yeah. So the biggest one for me is one, saying no, and two, asking for help. Yeah, absolutely. Taking breaks before I need it. Yeah, lovely. So you all know what boundaries you can put in. These are just some of many. So we've talked a lot about energy today and where it goes and some strategies that can help us manage it. Now, what I'd like you to do, this is your workbook activity. You don't need the workbook per se, because I'm going to tell you what to do on here anyway. So you can either make notes however you want, or you can use the workbook. The workbook is a PDF that I believe you can type on depending on what system you have. If not, you can print it off and write it out in your own time. Not a problem at all. So what I'd like you to do is spend a couple of minutes creating your own personal energy audit. Okay? Because the reality is that I don't live your life. You do. Okay? You know better what leaves you exhausted, what helps you feel more like yourself, and what helps you feel better. Okay, so in the first column, we've got our drains. So this is what I would like you to write down: the things that regularly drain your energy. This is for you. This isn't for anybody else. Okay, so these might be things like physical, mental, social, emotional, or sensory. Anything that comes under those headings, or anything else that you can think of. There's no right or wrong answers here. Okay, so this is your own personal energy audit. For some people, it might be shopping, might be phone calls, appointments, noise, pain, or sleep, or worrying. In the second column, write down things that help you keep steady. These things don't have to be big. They can be the smallest of things. Like we said earlier in the chat, cup of tea, fresh air, music, a supportive conversation, things like that. And in the final column, I want you to think about where you might need stronger boundaries. What might help you feel better? Think about, is there something you're saying yes to when you really need to say no? Now, a lot of you have put in the chats about how you find it hard to say no to people. This is something for you to put in place, should you choose to. Is there something you could ask for help with? Is there a commitment that's costing more energy than it's giving back? I'd like you guys to be honest with yourself. And as I said, this isn't something anyone else needs to see. Okay, so your drains, your maintains, and your builds. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Be honest with yourselves. This is for you. If you feel you want to share them in the chat, please feel free. Is there anybody that would like to share something they've noticed? Perhaps a drain you hadn't really thought about before? An example is I spoke to my Beaver Group Scout leader, and now instead of being a Beaver leader, I am an occasional helper and go in twice a term. Lovely. Sandra, that's great. And what you've done there is you have protected your own energy, which is really, really good. You've gone from having something that could probably drain you as being a leader to someone that goes in occasionally when you feel that you're okay to go in. I like that. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing. Is there an energy builder that you've realized you haven't made enough time recently? I've realized I'm constantly spending time on my phone and it feels really overwhelming to always reply quickly. Lucy, absolutely. Absolutely. That is a big one. Staying away from unsupportive people, Alison. That's, yeah, that in itself will drain your energy. Lovely. Negative self-talk is a drain. It's hard to change, Lizzie. Absolutely. And I think we all agree with you that there, Lizzie, that is negative. Negative talk is always a drain. My biggest drain is adulting. I try to do it online rather than phone if possible. Good, Jacqueline. You're finding yourself a maintain there that can help you. Holding clothes and the anxiety of letting them go. Yep, Carol, absolutely. So that's a big drain for you, I can imagine. Wanting to be able to do what I did before, my old way of life, work, for example, but now sitting in the garden helps me refresh. Lovely, Yvette, I like that. A build is in green space nature. Lovely, Steve. Thank you for sharing that. Negative talk is a very big one. I agree. Yep. Asking people for help and trying to let them do it all and not try to do things myself. I feel it's overwhelming. Absolutely. Absolutely at all. So a lot of you are struggle with letting go of certain things. Some of you struggle to accept that you're not the person you used to be. But all I would say to that one is you're a better person. You're a stronger person now because of what you've been through. And you might not feel like it. I was on a podcast yesterday called Inclusion Bites. We were recording an episode. And one of the biggest things that the host asked me was, am I brave? And I sat there and I thought to myself, well, I don't feel like I'm brave. I don't feel like I am brave like how you would see a brave person. So for me, a brave person is somebody who jumps in front of danger, um, who protects people they care about. And I certainly didn't feel like that. And this is where negative talk can come in as well, because you think to yourself, why would you call me brave? I'm not brave. And actually, the host on there said, but you are brave. You're here. You're running a business. You're doing this, even though you have all of these symptoms. We are brave because we get through the day. I love that. Thank you, Sandra, for sharing that. That is an absolute perfect sentence. We are brave because we get through the day. And that itself is massive. The fact that you can get through the day, whether you struggled or not, no matter how easy or hard it was for you, you are brave because you got through the day. I love that, Sandra. That's why FND are called warriors. Absolutely. A holiday is hugely draining for me. Absolutely, Carol. Absolutely. So I went to my local FND group in Wiltshire on Friday last week, and there was a lovely lady there who um, she has quite severe FND to the point where she really struggles to walk. Her leg just decides to do what it feels like. And she was telling me that she went to Mexico for a week. And the whole time she was in Mexico, she didn't have any symptoms, none at all. And the second she came back, she felt like she had been running a marathon. She said it was absolutely exhausting. So yes, holidays can be a huge drain. Live in Marlborough, Wiltshire. I live in Westbury in Wiltshire, so probably not far from you. Lovely. So we've all got our personal energy audit, our drains, our maintains, and our builds. Okay. So we're coming to the end of our time together, and I'd like you to think about one question. Okay. What is one thing you would do differently this week because of this workshop? Not five, not 10, just one. So I don't know about you, but when you leave a workshop, I leave feeling motivated, raring to go. I make big plans and I then start writing a list of all the things that I'm going to change. And by the end of the week, I'm massively overwhelmed. Speak to work about break, Susanna. Good. That's a good one. Well done. 60% rule. Good, Alison. Yeah, like that. The small changes are often the ones that last. Lizzie, say no to a birthday party when I have to go to the dentist 2 days before. Yeah, absolutely. You know what's going to make you crash? Perfect, Rosie. Learn to put my phone down. Only do what I want to do now. Yeah, like it. Not feeling guilty for resting, Joe. That's really good. Edit my chores list to 6 chores. Well done, Jacqueline. Like that. Be the best. Get the best. The Be Present app. Yvette, lovely. Like that. Ask for more help. Think of myself as an elite athlete. Recovery. Like that, Steve. Perfect. Less screen time, Lucy. Yes. Okay, so small changes, like I said, are the ones that last. Use the traffic light system. Good. So maybe you'll start recognizing your amber warning signs earlier. Again, use the traffic light system, like it. Maybe you'll ask for help. Maybe you'll say no to something that's draining your energy, which has already been in the chat. Thank you. And maybe you'll spend more time doing something that builds energy. Whatever it is, it's for you. Keep it realistic. But the goal is not to leave here and completely change your life by tomorrow. Please do not do that. One thing, the goal is to leave with one thing that feels realistic to you and one thing you're willing to try. Like it. Okay. So this is my biggest lesson. Oh, we got a few more comments. I'm going to ask my husband what's the most important thing for him, for me to try and do rather than me thinking I need to change the world. Nice, Carol. That's a good one. Energy builders need to be built into the day. Hazel, lovely. Good. I'm liking these. Okay. So my biggest lesson. So this is about me. So for years, I judged myself against the person I was before FND. And I've seen a few of you put that in the comments as well. Okay. I've had FND for 5 years. And every day I felt like I was failing because I couldn't do what I used to do. One of my biggest and most favorite activities was hiking. So before I had my initial episode, I climbed the highest mountain in England, Scafell Pike. And I did it really well, and I was really proud of myself. And I was devastated after I had my episode and I was diagnosed. And I found it hard to believe that I had a disability per se, because I thought, oh, I used to be really fit and healthy. I used to go running, I used to go climbing. Um, but a few weeks ago, I managed to climb the Penny Farm in Wales, which was really, really good. I was so proud, such an achievement. And I also went to the Peak District and I climbed up to the B-29 airplane crash that happened back in the war. And that was probably the hardest walk I've ever done. But I was out for 3 days afterwards. Thank you, Joe. I was out for 3 days afterwards. What I'm trying to get across here is the biggest shift for me was when I stopped measuring my success by productivity and started measuring it by sustainability. So I stopped measuring it for how much I could do and measured it by how well I looked after my energy. So I used a traffic light system. When I was climbing up that hill, mountain to the B-29 crash, I almost gave up. And that was a point where I probably should have listened to my body. It wasn't that I was on amber at that point. I was definitely in the red, and I was only 300 meters away from the actual crash site. So I pushed myself and I kept going. And that for me was a big lesson, because I spent 3 to 4 days after afterwards recovering when it could have only been 1 or 2. And that's why I created Wellness Without Barriers, because if I can learn to manage my energy, to give myself a little audit and put some boundaries in place, then I can help others do the same. Okay. So that comes to the end of our session today. I'm sorry if it felt like I was telling you how to suck eggs and it seemed really, really simple, but you'll be surprised how much something like this can make a big difference. Let's put you back onto the normal screen. I will share my screen again in a moment. You all see me? Yep. Okay. Brilliant. Okay. I will share my screen again because I do have something else I forgot about. Bear with me. Questions and discussions next. Yeah. Okay. That was all. Yeah. So questions and discussions. Again, I'm happy to share what's helped me, what I've learned, and practical strategies that might be useful. And everyone's experience of FND is different. So please just take what resonates and leave what doesn't. This session is educational, as I said at the beginning, and does not replace any advice from your own healthcare team. I'm happy to take any questions from anybody. Steve, if you're happy, I'm happy.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. If you want to go back to the main screen now, then we can do that. And I'm going to stop the recording, as I said, but huge thanks to Gemma for that, for anybody who's looking in afterwards. And we hope to be doing more in the future. So thanks, Gemma.